Welcome to Star Citizen and the ship guide for the Crusader Spirit A1 bomber version. We not only take a detailed look at all technical data, use cases, but also whether the Spirit is it for you in your fleet. Because especially in the area of bombers we have so far only the choice between the A2 and the new A1. But also apart from the bomber gameplay, the Spirit A1 has a lot to offer. Therefore, we start with the technical data before we get to the ship's details. As a bomber in size 4, the Spirit is designed for combat. And in size 4, we are within reach of a Mercury Star Runner, Corsair, 400i and the Constellation series. And in this case, we are in the area of hit points rather in the lower range, just above the Star Runner. But the A1 can respond to very good speed and mobility values and is clear ahead of heaviers such as the Constellation or even the Corsair. The built-in standard components are mainly military ones and promise a high degree of quality. Here, changes are not necessary, because you are well equipped, especially for combat situations. The range of the A1 is with 3750 quantum and 68,000 hydrogen rather in the midfield. And also in the midfield are the capacitor values for the pilot weapons. And the pilot firepower with 4 size 3 hit points is in the area of a Cutlass or Freelancer and comes the standard with 4 size 3 laser cannons. And at this point to note, the weapons can be changed, but all hit points are already maxed out. So we cannot change a gimbal to use a larger weapon hit point. The co-pilot has access to the remote gun turret. This works by remote control and is either forward and upwards or in the rear lower area for ground operations. But the heart, of course, is the equipment with 10 size 5 bombs. These Stormburst bombs have a considerable damage output, but are not quite cheap as soon as we want to reload them. In addition, the A1 has 4 size 3 cross-section missiles. Finally, the Crusader Spirit A1 promises good performance and strong equipment, especially for missions and of course for ground combat operations. The exterior is characterized by the Crusader typical clear line. Here we have a high quality equipment and optics. In addition, the combative look is reinforced by the wedge-shaped and flat construction. The Spirit can rely on dedicated and foldable VTOL thrusters, which also offers enormous thrust. And these VTOL engines also offer considerable performance in regular flight mode to the sides. This gives the Spirit a slightly higher maneuverability than comparable ships in this size. A typical Crusader detail is the possibility to drive in the armaments on the wings and to give the A1 an even sharper look. The optics of the Spirit can definitely be seen, while the elongated middle section still has a feature. Also typical of Crusader is the extendable 3-point landing gear. But the foldable bomb shafts in the lower area are the optical highlight, of course. Because here not only the 4 size 3 missiles are prepared for launch, but also the 10 size 5 bombs. A separate cover plate is provided for each bomb shaft, and the animations for this are absolutely top-notch. In the front, we find a gun turret controlled by the pilot under the cockpit. This is comparatively gimbaled and the 2 size 3 weapons cannot be exchanged for larger versions. The wing armament is standard in size 3 and is already equipped fixed. And as a highlight is the remote gun turret on a rail system for the co-pilot. This can be used for the flight in space forward, where the fire circle is sufficient for space combat. Alternatively, however, the turret can also be aligned downwards in the rear area, to be able to diagonally downwards face enemies. And also in addition, we have the perfect opportunity to keep an eye on the ramp that can be driven by markings. And these limit lights are also a real highlight and currently unique. The Spirit series comes with 3 different variants at the beginning. The A1 as a bomber, the C1 as an entry-level version with increased cargo capacity and a dedicated tractor beam, as well as the very exciting E1 as a special VIP shuttle. These, however, only follow at the latest stage, and the A1 as a bomber variant makes the start. To get into the interior, only the way over the rear ramp remains. This is drivable and wide enough for smaller vehicles. A drag mule, for example, fits into the A1 without any problems. Directly following the ramp, we have a safety area with a protective lock. And in this area, we have access to the most important ship components at the same time. On the other side of the protective gate, we find the heart of the A1, the 10 size 5 bomb equipment. These all have their own brake and do not have a rotation function like the A2. And another detail is the adjustable light mood, where we have 3 different levels of lighting. Here we see, for example, the combat lighting. And so we do not find any more details in the bomb room. Also typical of Crusader are the round double doors, where we find more components in the room. And finally, there is a combined living, sleeping, stay and cockpit area. Here we find, in addition to 2 beds, a kitchen, a standard sanitary facilities, and everything that allows longer excursions. And directly above the beds, we have additional storage space, and on the outside a weapon compartment for 2 large and 3 smaller weapons, as well as 2 suits. The 2 beds on the side serve as rescue capsules and are also provided with a screen. And also unusual is the direct access to the cockpit without another intermediate door. Here, the pilot and co-pilot are pushed over a small ramp to the front into the cockpit and sit elevated. The visibility in the rather flat cockpit is sufficient, but not exhilarating. Here, we mainly have a little visibility limitation to the front. Otherwise, the cockpit offers no further surprises and is equipped in the standard. And the co-pilot has access to the remote gun turret. In combat, the Crusader A1 offers a manageable firepower for a size 4 ship with 4 size 3 weapon hardpoints. But we also fly a bomber here. However, the firepower with 950 DPS and just under 600 alpha damage is sufficient to survive in PvE combat without any problems. Here, even larger opponents are not really a problem. But the Crusader Spirit A1 can only use 1 size 2 shield generator, which is definitely a manageable value. Because even if the A1 seems comparatively agile, it is a very large target with a size 4 ship, and 1 size 2 single shield generator is not always sufficient for this. And especially in the PvP area, you should take care of almost any opponent. The 4 size 3 missiles are a useful addition to the armament and offer good damage values. The agility and maneuverability are sufficient for most opponents without any problems, however it becomes difficult against fast and agile opponents such as the Vesperia Talon or racing variants. But let's go to the actual purpose of use of the Crusader Spirit A1, the Bombardment. Using the missile operator mode we have access to the 10 size 5 bombs. Here we have the normal bomb control, with which we can effectively fight ground targets. But gravity is a prerequisite, so bombs cannot be unlocked in weightlessness. And for bombardment operations it is important to have sufficient distance to the impact site, as the radius has a considerable range. Letting bombs hit opponents is already a lot of fun, but the current gameplay elements are missing. So far, there are only a few ways to use the bombs in the game. Nevertheless, they are spectacularly staged, not only visual, but also acoustically. But not quite cheap. But the bomb mechanics, on the other hand, become much more exciting with the upcoming game mechanics. The use of bombs is currently not cheap, because for just under 8 bombs of size 5, we just pay 40,000 alpha UC. Not a small thing. But we will be recharged for free if we simply reclaim our ship. You can buy the Crusader Spirit A1 at limited purchases for $175 Warbond or $200 for store credits. In the Warbond area, the Saber and Cartual are the cheapest upgrades for just under $5, and the Prospector is permanently available for just under $20 as an upgrade. In the store credit variant, the cheapest upgrade is the Super Hornet Heartseeker for $5. Otherwise, the Constellation Tower is always available for $10. And also, there will be an in-game purchase option, but in about 2 patches. So probably at 3.23. And with that, I say goodbye until next time. See you soon and see you in the verse. Thanks for watching.